Hello, Tarot Tube. It has been a while, but I'm back because I found this deck at my local Barnes & Noble. It was just, I don't know, I'm just in there hanging out, and here it is, and it's worth looking at, and I haven't seen anybody talking about it yet, so I thought I'd just pop up this video and hope it finds the right people. If this is interesting to you, do hit the like button. It helps you and it helps me. Okay, so this is a mass market deck. It's called The Mystical Forest. It's edited by Cecilia Latari, and illustrations are by Wes Gama. So when I first saw this, as always, whenever I see a deck that's got, you know, we're going indigenous here, people, I'm like, all right, so who did it? And I'm here to say that I think this is really legit and interesting and worth taking a look at. So I do not really know who Andrews McKeel Publishing is, printed in China. In the US, this is a $20 deck, which, you know, you never have to pay that. You can always find a deal or find a coupon or something. So it's, you know, as these things go, very affordable. An interesting box, look at this, it's a drawer, a tight drawer. So there it is. It has pretty much what you'd expect from my mass market deck today in 2024, but what's interesting is it's not just white paper, it's sort of a tinted cream color paper, so that's kind of easy on the eyes. I kind of appreciate the gentleness with this one. So on the back it says it's a mysterious and sacred animals, majestic and powerful plants, timeless shamans, the forest guard, a mix of wilderness and humanity that can lift the curtain that hides the most intimate and ancient truths. So, you know, I do a lot of my spiritual work out in nature, in the woods. I don't have anything I would call a forest really right near me, but same general idea. So they have some nice ideas in here about the usual spreads, how to use it, and how to sanctify the deck using the different elements, which is a little off the beaten track, and I enjoy it. And let's see, there was a little bit about our creators. Here they are. So Cecilia is a herbalist who studied at the University of Bologna and is a professional actress who graduated from the theater school. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, says she lives in a small town in the Tuscan Apennines, I think that's how you say it, near woods. So, you know, she is very much working in the natural world. And then when we go to our artist, we have Wes Gama, who I looked up online. He's a pretty interesting guy. So he does like murals and pop images and stuff, and he's in northern Brazil. So it's very sort of psychedelic pop art stuff. Oh, nudity warning. Yeah, so there's plenty of nudity in here, which obviously doesn't bother me, or I wouldn't have gotten the book deck. All right, so we've opened our drawer, and in the drawer, tight drawer, we have this kind of box. So it's really boxed up here. So I thought we would just take a quick look through it. I'm hoping that the color, my camera here, my iPhone, does the colors justice. So I just needed a sip of something. So look at those, and it's I would call this a semi-gloss, and we've got these moons. So if you read reversals, it's good. You can do that. All right, so look at these hot colors. This is awesome. And I think I'll just sort of go through them. I'm not going to stop and do a lot. And then when I get to the end, so hang out to the end, y'all, and then we'll do a 3-pile and then flip those cards over, and you can pick one. So when I look at these people, I do see South American type folks, with and without clothing. And the colors are just wowsy. Love these colors. This, you know, so there's a lot of stuff in here about plants, obviously. But I like how these plants are like antlers, sort of. And a different kind of a big cat. This reminds me the most in the major arcana of a shaman or shaman. I understand that both pronunciations are correct. Makes sense to me. And sort of in a Western tradition, this looks like a fairy circle to me, but there's probably some corresponding thing in South and Central American traditions. I don't know enough about it to say for sure. But look at the bat. Yay, bat. Interesting to see a male figure in the Temperance card, I believe. There's our devil. When I first looked at the tower, I wasn't sure about the age of these people. I was like, wait, they're children. No, wait, they're adults. And I decided, actually, it's kind of lovely that you can make it be whatever you want it to be with this tower. And there's something about this figure that she seems to be moving more than I usually expect a star card to move. And there's our moon. Let's look at the moons on the back. See? And our sun. Judgment. This sort of has a little bit of a Garden of Eden feel with the gate, in my opinion. And here's our world. Okay, so there's our major arcana. And I think I'll do that now. Right, wands. So you'll see now now that we're in the minor, we're going with these animal figures. And it is a little pippish. And I would expect, as near as I can tell from who's watching my videos, that the meanings, these animals and their meanings might not line up exactly with what you might traditionally think of with these animals. So there's room for growth there, not a bad thing. And I do appreciate that because this is a pip and because it's not the, what do I want to say? The elements are not lined up in that Marseille design, so you can't instantly recognize, oh, that's the 8 or the 9 or whatever. So I appreciate that they have up here in Arabic numbers the number so you can easily identify it. Because it's like, if you just look, let's just fan it, right? Like if you just look at these, however, that's a little tricky to try to read that at a glance what the number of the card is. Okay, enough of that. Here's our page. Our knight, our queen, she's gorgeous. I love her floral headdress. And our king, who looks mature, and I appreciate that. All right, into the cups. Oh, we've got a color, kind of a little bit of, not a big color thing, but you'll see how it tracks a little bit. So once again, now we're in the cups, and we've got animals for all of our cups. These colors are just fantastic, this palette, really. I think it's a nice palette for any time of year if you want the bright pop of color. But as I'm recording this, we're heading into summer, so I'm feeling the warmth of the summer, these warm colors. There's our page, our knight, and our queen, and our king. Okay, there's our cups. Now let's look at the swords. Starting out with birds again. Right, like so you'd look at an animal like this and, you know, if you're from the Northern Hemisphere, you might have to do like a double take, like, wait a second, what is that again? Not something I see in the backyard. These clouds are beautiful, aren't they? They're as stylized as the, Japanese woodcut clouds, or waves rather, is what I'm thinking of, but different. They're softer, they're rounder, the curves are more gentle. And here we go with our quartz, our page, our knight, our queen. Doesn't she look thoughtful? And our king. I guess she should look thoughtful. It's the swords, for heaven's sakes. Okay, here comes our pentacles. So for me, since I'm not really great at reading pips, and my playing card reading, the way I do that doesn't really help me with reading pips in tarot. So I would be really dependent on the guidebook in a deck like this, because I wouldn't automatically know like I don't know what bird that is. I wouldn't have the energy, you know, I wouldn't pick up the energy for it. So I would be sort of scrambling around with what I know about the Nine of Pentacles and the Nine and then Pentacle, you know. So I would lean on the guidebook very heavily in a book like this. And here's our court cards. So that's it. Now we've walked through all of them. So, all right, you made it to the end. I'm just going to do a quick off-screen shuffle here. Take a breath. And I think what I'll do here is I'll do two piles, and you can think about whether you are going to pick the left or the right pile. Let's see how this shuffles. This is the first time I've tried to shuffle it. I've walked through the deck, but I hadn't worked with it at all because I wanted to do the video before I got it out of order. I'm such a practical soul, am I? All right, so there it is. Oh, look at that. It leaves, I'm getting fingerprints on it. Okay, so we've got two piles here, and you can think about which one you want, or maybe you want both of them. And let's just see what we've got. Both reversed, if you care about that sort of thing. All right, so like I was saying about the pips, immediately I'm looking to the 7, because I don't just look at this big cat and say, oh, I know what this is. All right, the 7 of Wands, let's see what that one is. Okay, so you might have found a moment of peace and celebration for your latest success in the card number 6, but with number 7, things get complicated and you will have to deal with some tension. The 7 of Wands appears when we encounter obstacles or adversity in our lives, opposing forces that seem to attack us. This card says that you have a favorable position and can overcome the difficulties that arise by staying rooted in who you are. Stand up for who you are, the card seems to say. Your strength lies here in your nature. Don't stoop to the level of your antagonist. Stand firm. Defend your nature. It is a card related to self-assertion, personal power, the ability to affirm who you are by intelligently using all of your strength. And the key words from this creator, whoops, I've gone out of frame, sorry about that, are being defensive, being under attack, asserting your nature. But remember that when I flipped this over, I did have it in reverse. So I look at these things as just a spectrum. But the overall meaning I took from the reading at this point in time is that this is about, you know, the difference between responding and reacting. When you respond, you are centered in who you are and what you want. And when you react, you're just like going into defense mode. So I would say, because it came up reversed, you know, just be careful not to cross that line from being reactive, or from just responding from a position of strength into reacting from a position of weakness and defensiveness, because you don't need to be that way. All right, and here's our other one, the King of Cups. And let's see what they say. Sorry I went out of screen on that last one. I was too busy reading, not double checking my screen. Okay, the King of Cups is a leader who deeply knows the power of emotions. He has challenged himself and done a great deal of work on himself, going out and intensely exploring his own experience. He can be a doctor, a psychologist, a guide who inspires others through his deep sense of humanity. At the same time, he can represent someone whose emotions are too controlled and who does not manifest them outwardly. The best version of this card is someone who has great knowledge of the human soul and uses this knowledge to guide, inspire, and help others. Whoops. If you don't recognize anyone in this description, be inspired by this king's characteristics to act within your environment. Emotional stability, control of emotions, and spiritual guidance. So actually, I think these two, they dovetail nicely. It's like, you know, what I was saying, the difference between responding and reacting. A King of Cups personality that is, you know, grounded in their own emotional well-being and stability. They're not going to be reactive. They're going to be They're going to respond from their own position. their knowledge and their spiritual sense of self, what they know to be right, what they feel to be right. Okay, so those are these two things. This was the Mystical Forest. I'm happy that I picked it up for, you know, a mere $20. It seems like a bargain, and I'm excited to use it when the Spirit calls me. So if that was informative to you, do hit a like and let me know. If you've had this deck, you know, pop it in the comments and tell me how you've used it, what you thought. All right, so I have a couple videos to make now. The next one is going to be Rachel Pollack's The Shining Tribe Tarot. Look at that big chunker of a box. And I just got in my, oh, this isn't going to show up right, but my card deck club from Hay House. So there's 3 decks in here that I'll be walking through and talking about. So if you think you'd like to hear about any of those decks, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope that whatever's going on in your life, you have a moment of awe and wonder that brings you some joy. So, you know, even when things are pretty stinky, you can still have that moment, and I hope you get it. All right, take care. Bye-bye.